Welcome to No Question About That. This is the midweek pod, packed show today with Isabel. It's been a while, Isabel. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, yeah. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed this international break because there were stakes. I think the thing that some of the international breaks, when it's like early in the qualifying or it's just friendlies, it just doesn't mean anything, and I struggle to kind of care, basically. But this was good, I thought.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I think England are just so boring sometimes, but I think when you are fighting for something, it does make it more interesting. And there was some good matches, so as long as we're performing well enough, that's all I could ask for right now. And then obviously I'm excited for the World Cup. I'm looking forward to it.
There are quite a few games here. I should go, but the prices are insane. Insane. I'm just going to wait for the prices to come down a little bit on the dynamic pricing because I'm sure there'll be gaps at $500 a ticket.
Yeah.
Madness.
I know.
I mean, the England games, I watched both of them and they were both quite dull. England are a very neutral side, aren't they? Already they're very efficient. And they should do well in this tournament because they don't concede many goals. But they're not that exciting.
No, they're not. And they haven't been, to be honest, for a while. So I'm not expecting too much.
I mean, I really enjoyed the Scotland and Republic of Ireland drama. Not much United involvement in the Ireland games, really, other than they beat a Bruno-less Portugal. And Bruno, of course, came back and scored a hat-trick against, I forget who it was now, Armenia, was it? But Portugal had a big win in the second game. That was kind of fun watching Bruno do Bruno things. And then, of course, Scotland was amazing with Scott McTominay's overhead after like 3 minutes.
We love to see that.
What a turnaround for him, though. What a redemption after leaving United. And I mean, I can't remember exactly how I framed it when he left. I wasn't that upset other than because I just couldn't see how United at that time could get him into a team that made sense. He didn't make sense in a double pivot in Ten Hag's side at all. So the only way he made sense was much further forward in Bruno's role. And then, of course, if he was in Amorim, he definitely wouldn't be playing because there's no way of playing Scott McTominay in that system, but he's doing brilliantly at Napoli.
Yeah. No, I definitely was sad when Scott left. I thought he was one of them players who you could sort of always count on to come on and score a goal.
Absolutely.
Or just make an impact to the team. And so I liked Scott for that reason. But yeah, it was just him fitting in. It wasn't going to fully work. But I'm so glad that he's doing well for himself.
Yeah. I mean, he just seems like a great guy as well. And so there's nothing to hate about him. He did well for United when he was here. And he's done even better. He's stepped on 19th place in the Ballon d'Or was pretty impressive. I don't think anyone, even his biggest supporters, would say he was a sort of top 20 in the world. But he's proven to be so and just seems to have that kind of those clutch moments where he just pulls something out. I mean, this Scotland game was just wild for how many good goals there were. One from the halfway line, an overhead kick.
I
know. Tierney's smashed one in from 25 yards. It was like real drama.
Yeah, you couldn't predict that one, but we love it.
Yeah, well, there's nothing like international football for sort of pulling people together when it means something. Because it is, it's the most tribal thing, isn't it? National countries versus country. And what else happened? Ireland got themselves into a playoff. Troy Parrott scoring a hat-trick. That was pretty dramatic. I caught a bit of the Norway. Norway somehow have a really good team. It's not just Haaland. They might be. I know is the term dark horse still used for an outside. They're not going to win the World Cup, but they could do well.
Maybe. But this is the great thing about the World Cup. There's so many underdogs who. There's always that one. I know it was Morocco it would have been the last World Cup, wouldn't it? And they just were so good. And I was like rooting for Morocco, even though it wasn't my team, but it was great. I loved it.
The African World Cup qualifiers were brilliant for drama as well. So Nigeria lost out. No United players involved in that one. I think they're going to a playoff. There's some very convoluted playoff systems coming up next involving 3 continents. But obviously Cameroon qualified, but they missed out on AFCON. which was interesting. Morocco have a really good side. I mean, they had a good side back in 22, didn't they? But I think it's probably even better now because they won I think it was the Under-20s World Cup a couple of years ago. They're doing brilliantly in the Under-17s World Cup right now. They could well go very far. I don't expect them to win the tournament. I mean, the 4018 World Cup makes it like a weird system with like some third places in groups having to qualify and a lot of games that might not mean much. But it does mean you get some really interesting teams involved that wouldn't have been otherwise.
And I think there's something special about the World Cup because it's like the whole world comes together to watch loads of different football matches. And I just think it's really exciting. And like I said, like I love supporting the underdogs and seeing these teams come up that you don't expect it. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, where Morocco go, but it is exciting. I'm excited for the World Cup.
Steve McClaren had to resign as Jamaica manager. They're not actually out of it yet. I mean, they got beaten by Curacao. It was a draw, but that meant that Curacao qualified and Jamaica didn't, but Jamaica now have to play New Caledonia, is it? And then DRC. That's the weird, CONCACAF versus Oceania, then versus one of the African qualifiers. Very convoluted, but truly world when it comes to qualifiers. But yeah, McClaren went maybe a little bit early. Honestly, they're not out yet. But anyway, he seemed genuinely upset and emotional, actually, Steve McClaren, about that.
It's a brutal game.
I mean, brutal, yeah. It turned into violence afterwards. It was, yeah. Curacao shipped in a bunch of fans and they were happy and the Jamaican fans were not. By the way, that would be a real shame because Jamaica have a top kit for the World Cup. Well, they had a top kit for the World Cup if they qualified. All right, that was the international break. It's funnily, and quite a lot of United players weren't involved. I mean, Casemiro played twice for Brazil, but they played once at the Emirates and once in France. I think Cunha was involved in those games as well. But a lot of United players were back at Carrington. Basically, all the England players. Maguire, who's out actually, he's injured anyway, had a recurrence of that problem. But Luke Shaw didn't go away with England, which is a bit of a surprise because England don't have a left back.
I don't hate it. I don't mind because at the end of the day, I want them to be fit for United over England. I don't know whether that's a bit selfish, but yeah, because obviously with the whole Luke Shaw thing in the was it the Euros? Yeah, the Euros.
Yeah,
with him going and then not being fit for United, that was a bit it's not great. So yeah, I'd rather them be fit for United than England. But yeah, I assume Luke Shaw will go for the World Cup. So I think they probably need him, to be honest.
They could do with his experience, I think, and there just isn't a proper left back there. Yeah. I mean, Nico O'Reilly played last time. He's a very good, high quality player, but not a left back, and that will dictate how they play. They won't have a full back that goes on the outside, and that necessarily squeezes your pattern of play, I think, a little bit. And same if Lewis Skelly plays there, right-footed left back, but we'll see. I mean, yeah, all right. That was the international break. I thought it was a lot of fun there. United women played while we were on the men's international break. First losing 3-0 to City last weekend. That was after a brilliant result against Paris Saint-Germain. Great performance as well. And then getting absolutely smashed at Wolfsburg in the Women's Champions League. Just some comically bad defending as well. I don't know what you thought of the game, but the wheels have come off the bus a little bit. I mean, I don't know whether it's disaster time just yet for Skinner's side, but probably just the injuries and lack of squad depth is really biting right now.
Major goalkeeper errors as well. I mean, it's just them things that you just can't be happening. Defensive errors, goalkeeping errors. It's just it was just a big flop match. I think the Wolfsburg one, yeah.
Yeah, and it was I think it's 4 of the goals. You could probably say there was a major either defensive or goalkeeping error on. I mean, obviously lost 5-2. Those should have been cut out. And the thing is, they've been actually brilliant defensively under Skinner as well. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest criticisms, really, that he doesn't really unleash some of the attacking talent and they're a bit safe sometimes. And so this was a bit of an anomaly. But yeah, it's a tough one. And they play Lyon next, which will be a really tough side. And Juventus, I think, as well, to close out the group. So 3 wins out of 4. It's not a disaster. They should already have enough to qualify I think, for the next round. It's the top 16 that go through. And they probably, one result against Lyon or Juve will definitely guarantee it. But it's, you kind of feel like when there are suspensions and injuries, it's a real problem. Just not enough investment in that side. And
that's it.
I think it's a fair criticism of the club to say they haven't invested enough.
Yeah, which is disappointing, but yeah.
I don't expect it to happen as well because the Ratcliffe has kind of signalled it's not the priority. Although really, if you put 2 or 3 million extra in, it would completely transform the United Women budget. So it's not a lot of money, really. I think they're missing out on something they could do.
Yeah, I agree. No.
What else have we got on the agenda? Steven Torpey gave his first interview since joining United. He's new academy director, replaced Nick Cox, who's very well regarded throughout football. He's the new director of football at Everton, so a big promotion there for him. Steven Torpey came from Brentford. He's kind of an interesting character, really, because Brentford had cancelled their academy at one point, and he's the man they appointed to sort of rebuild it. Was at City before that and Liverpool before that. Won't hold it against him too much. But he gave an interview to Inside Carrington, which is the new official podcast. I don't know. What did you think of Steven Torpey's first interview for United?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Not too much said, but I think he did say the right things. He spoke about creating opportunities and performance. And I think that is what we need for the youth, the younger team, the younger players in the squad. We need to build these players up in the youth team to give them the opportunities in the first team. And I think he sounds like the man to do it. I mean, he sounds quite confident and he's got the right morals for the youth team. So, I mean, yeah, it is all about creating opportunities. And I feel like we do have talent in the youth team. We just need to sort of see it come up a bit more. So hopefully he's the man to do it.
He's obviously known by Wilcox, and that's probably where the relationship came from. Wilcox was also at City. I think he's fairly well regarded throughout football as well. Said all the right things in this interview. You wouldn't expect him to not say the right things, and that he wasn't exactly giving any hardball questions here. I mean, I think the interesting thing is always the balance. There's quite a few academy directors around the Premier League who complain about the balance shifting away from building a young player's career and getting them into the first team to selling them as assets. And PSR rules have kind of heightened that view that academy players are assets to sell. I mean, some clubs have done it really well. Of course, City, Liverpool, Chelsea have all made a lot of money out of selling academy products. United have not traditionally. Apart from Scott McTominay, which I don't know whether we count that really or not. I mean, he was an academy graduate, obviously, but had been in the first team for a decade or something. But, I mean, I think Torpey sounds fine. He said all the right things. We'll see where the balance lies at United. It would make sense to sell a few academy players and get good fees if they're not going to make it at United. But, of course, what we want is them to be in the first team, and that's kind of that record of however many games, 4,300 something games of the academy player in the first team squad is definitely under threat at the moment. Probably Mainu may be fit for the weekend. Amorim was not clear on that one, I'd say. And he had Jack Fletcher in the squad last time as a kind of token youth player.
Yeah. We do need to see the academy players come up a bit more. I think one of the things, it's like with the Kobbie Mainoo thing, I still am really confused how we've brought up this player into the first squad. He's done really well, and then we've just sort of shut him out. And I know perhaps he doesn't fit in that sort of midfield two as well as maybe Bruno and Casemiro do. But I think Kobbie's one of them players where I would try and work my team around him because I think he is so good. But it's now just obviously, we've sort of brought this academy player up and then we're just letting him go. Like it's a bit weird. And I just think we need to work a bit more on the academy players and hopefully, we can do that come in the future because it's important. We need good academy players, and if we want to sell them, then we sell them, but we need to give them the opportunities first.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you prove yourself if you're not playing? I think that's the kind of dichotomy with Kobbie, isn't it? That Amorim wants him to be a different player. I think he wants power players basically, and Kobbie is not that. and power players who cover a lot of ground. Again, Cobby's not that. He's a small spaces technical player. He would look brilliant in a small spaces technical side, like I know City or Barcelona or something like that, and not so good in a big spaces direct side like United have at the moment. So yeah, I kind of expect we'll come to a head if Amorim is truly here for the long term. I think Cobby is smart enough and his people will know well enough, and the club will know that likely we're going to get a parting of ways, and that will be a very sad moment that you can't, and a big red flag for me that you can't find space. It is a question about Amorim overall. He has not used a lot of academy players. I mean, you can count Ahmad, I guess, but he was £40 million put a €40 million purchase, so I don't know whether that really counts. He doesn't count. I don't think he actually played for the academy side, so I don't think he counts. So very few younger players. I mean, there's younger players in the squad and the team, but they've all been bought. And he's not really promoted a lot of academy players yet. I know a lot have been training with the first team, and they've kind of had this rotation system where a lot come into the first team training, say for a couple of weeks to make up the extra players for the 11-sided games. But it's a question mark over Amorim overall that he has not focused on that.
Yeah, and I think that it could be just him sort of playing safe, because obviously, you know, he's come into this squad in a bit of a, I'd say quite a rough spot, and he's sort of got to work with these players who are a bit, you know, they're not the best team, and we're still working on that. And I think for him to bring up an academy player could be a risk, because he's got these, I guess, proven players that he's, you know, bought from different places, and he's sort of got his team going a little bit at the minute. And I think he's probably wanting to play safe with this team rather than bringing an academy player. But then I look at that and think, well, actually, no, we do need to sort of do them both together and bring up an academy player. But I sort of get it, because I think he's probably playing safe. But you do have to give opportunities. And I guess if they are training with the first team as well, that is a good sign. So hopefully in the near future we can see, you know, some debuts and actually getting some of the academy players worked into the squad a bit more as well.
Yeah, I mean, it helps both with the playing depth and the finances of the club to have academy. Whether you sell the academy player or keep them in the first team, it just means there's a player you don't have to buy. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Fredrickson played a little bit of pre-season and played the Grimsby game. We haven't really seen him since. He could do some football, honestly. I think he's better than academy level. Aidan Heaven didn't play. I mean, I know he's young, so we can't count him as an academy player. He didn't play for the academy, but he has had a few injury problems. But I imagine, like, he's fit again now. He'll be in the squad every week. He's just not in ahead of Luke Shaw at the moment. And Jack Fletcher, obviously, in the squad. I don't think he's ready, personally. I'd like to see him get a loan first. And then Seiko Kone, now back fit again. He got that, obviously, pretty nasty eye injury. I think he's got a very good chance of making the squad in the second half of the season. What I've seen of him, he's developed quite a lot. I mean, obviously, he's missed a lot of this season already. He played the internationals for Mali under 23s, I think. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in the new year in a few squads.
Yeah, hopefully.
Rúben Amorim gave an interview to Stan Sports in Australia. It was picked up by a bunch of the Australian press. I don't know why particularly, because United aren't in Europe and Stan Sports cover Europe, I think, or European football. Anyway, he gave an interview to Stan Sports. He didn't try and put on a comic Aussie accent to mark the cricket, which I think he should have done, but there you go. He said a few interesting things. I think one of the most interesting thing he said was that when Ratcliffe came out and said that he would get 3 years, it took the pressure off and changed the narrative. And that's right. It really did change the narrative around Amorim. It kind of shut down all the talk that he might be on the verge of getting fired.
I would not fire Amorim anytime soon. He's just sort of getting going with this squad. And we are definitely seeing progress, especially recently. And I think the signings of, you know, Mbeumo is just, that's one of the best signings in the most recent years, I would say. So yeah, I hope he's not going to lose his job soon. I think we need to give him lots more time. So that's a good sign.
I mean, that Liverpool result definitely took the pressure off him to win at Anfield. Like, my view on Amorim was always that partly frustration about how dogmatic he was. And I agree. At no point was I like, I think this guy should be fired. Fortunately, I record on here 4 times a week, so I have plenty of record of that. But it was all on blind faith. Like, he seemed like a nice guy and had a high EQ, and I understood from his time at Sporting exactly what he was trying to build. The irony, I guess, is that the changes he has made, they're not big, they're not formation, and he was very specific in this interview. I didn't change my formation, but he did tweak how United play within that formation. He changed how United press. United have obviously gone a bit more direct in some games this season. I think we're still top of the league, or second maybe, for number of long balls this year. The whole Premier League has gone a bit more direct, but United very much have leaned into that. So he has made changes, despite kind of denying it. But it's brought him 5 pretty good results, 3 wins. The 2 draws against Spurs and Forest weren't awesome, but we didn't collapse. We got late equalisers in both. I think that says something about the spirit in the camp, maybe, hopefully. So he's definitely bought himself the rest of this season, and it does feel like United are harder to beat at the moment. And so you'd expect even with AFCON and the injuries we've got at the moment, and that's going to have to change the side up a little bit. The next 10 fixtures look pretty good.
Yeah, they do. And I think as well, like you said, about there's this sort of spirit in the team. And I think that's one of the main things that we've just not had for a while. And so the fact that Amorim is sort of getting that out of the players is really promising for me. I think it is, because I think that's where we struggled. We haven't looked bothered on the pitch at all in last season and going backwards. Whereas this season, I'm just seeing a different spark, and De Ligt scoring that goal in at the end of the Tottenham game, and there's just that fire, which is something that the squad needs. We need to actually want it, and I do see us wanting it more. Like you said as well, he's made these little changes, but I think they're really impactful changes, and I think it's looking good. Obviously, there's so much more that we need to improve on, but I definitely think there is noticeable changes that Amorim has made to this squad. And yeah, I think we're in a good little run now, and just hopefully we can get some more wins under our belt. And I mean, hopefully we can win on Monday as well, because obviously that is going to be possibly a bit of a tough match. I know Everton are 13th. Are we 7th? I think, but I think 7th. Yeah.
So it's around about there. Yeah. It's so tight between 2nd and 10th.
I know.
Like, well, a win here or there changes stuff dramatically, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, this weekend's fixtures, that there's some quite big matches. And so I think there will be a sort of pressure for Monday. And I think being on a Monday is just always sort of a disadvantage, because you're, the last game of the weekend. And I think Everton will want it. But hopefully, with us being at home, we'll just sort of have that advantage. So we'll see.
I think the thing about Amorim, though there's like a lot of questions about his sort of system and game model, I would say, especially how we use the wing backs. And he can be quite defensive there. And I find that bit frustrating sometimes when he plays 2 defenders at wing back. I almost always know United aren't going to play well. Just when has that ever happened? It's because we're already an attacker down in this system. And then you just have a defensive block of 7 and 3 up front, kind of isolated. And it never feels quite right to me. When Ahmad's at wing back, at least, and we know Patrick Dorgu gets into good positions, even if the end product is not awesome, it just feels much more attacking and much more like a United side, if that means something.
Yeah.
I think United teams should be attacking and play attacking football. We should be on the front foot. And so that, I think there's sometimes frustration with Amorim there and that model. So, and the direct stuff, I don't think it has, I don't think he's going to win the league, but we're not trying to get there. We're trying to get into European football this season. That's the goal, right? Europa League at least, but it's so open that you're looking at it and going, 5th place Champions League that's definitely possible. Definitely possible. And I mean, I suppose at some point around January or February last year, I was saying the same thing, but it's just, there's so many teams with flaws that I think United could do it. It might depend on whether we're brave in the transfer market this winter. I don't know whether they will do it. They definitely can. In terms of PSR and going forward, it'll be squad cost rule, obviously, but we have headroom there. It's clear. we'd have to borrow the money from our line of credit, but it's open. So would they gamble and go, hey, we're a bit thin in central midfield. We could probably do with another wing back, maybe even a striker, given that we've only got one in the squad and we're suffering with that now. Would they do something in the winter window?
Yeah, I mean, I'd hope so. I mean, if Jim Ratcliffe is saying, he's all in for this, new United side, I would hope that they put in the money to get, a good player in this winter transfer. It obviously is more money that they probably don't want to spend. So I think I'd be surprised if we had a good, winter transfer window, but you never know. And obviously I do hope that we do. So, but I think, yeah, in terms of European football, we're definitely competing for it, and as we should be. We do, like you said, I think we do have there's definitely a possibility, and we do have the players now, I think, to actually fight for it. I felt like last season there was never really, we should have got it, but there was never really going to be that fight, and I feel like we actually can do it this season with the players that we have. And yeah, it is just winning them matches, not getting silly losses like we did last season and the season before. We've got to really, go for it in every single match.
Yeah, interesting recently in the Spurs and Forest games, you could probably point at all 4 goals that we conceded and go, could they have done better on each of them? Like stop the crosses against Spurs, being tighter to the man with Tell's goal. It's kind of felt like individual defensive errors, not being in the right place, not getting on the right side of the man, rather than the system problem. You'd assume that they are high quality players and that doesn't continue. So I'm not that worried defensively. It's the kind of attacking side of the game that's a bit, we don't build up well enough through the thirds to consistently maintain attacks. And so sometimes it's a little bit down to the individual brilliance. And fortunately, we've got a lot of very good players now, right? I know Cunha's not really been scoring many, but I think everyone likes his performances, right? And I have a lot of faith in Sesko. I think he will come good eventually. Unfortunately, he's out for a month. I have less faith in Josh Zirkzee as a striker. And Brighton Mbeumo's just clutch. I think you're right. He's one of the best signings for years.
Yeah.
He's gone up a level even from Brentford, I think, and a brilliant player. Love him. But will it all click enough that we score enough goals to get ourselves into European contention? I mean, these next 10 games, they really are. So many of them are winnable. If we can get to the point where we can start scoring when we have a lot of possession, because that's been the problem, right? We score transitional goals. When we don't have a lot of possession, our points under Amorim are double our points when we have more than 50% possession. And so that's the question. If we're playing a lot of teams that we should beat and we have a lot of the ball, can we score enough goals when they're sat in a low block? That's been the problem. And I think it will continue to be a problem when we can't get cheap goals. I mean, we are getting a few more from set pieces, aren't we? But Sesko should get us a bunch of free goals from... I thought we'd get more of it. And Bruno cutting in, ball floated to the back post, Sesko scores a cheap goal. We haven't got as many of those as I expected.
No, I think we're definitely creating better chances than I think we have been previously. The more clear-cut chances. But yeah, it is just converting the goals. And I guess sometimes, we might have to hope on that individual brilliance. And at the minute, it's sort of working. But yeah, we do need to get that attack, better and running more smoothly and just working together. I know that sounds like the most blatantly obvious thing as a football team, but it actually is. They do need to work better as a team and get that attack going. And it's just, you see other teams and they know where every single person is on the pitch and their passing is so accurate. And I still think that's one of the things that we sort of struggle with. I think we're more confident in the final third, but that is still something that we need to work on, just the accuracy and the passing in the final third to create the goals. So yeah, it's something that I'm looking for.
It's just a real shame that Sesko's out, I think, because we haven't had a lot of Mbeumo, Sesko and Cunha all playing together. And Cunha had a couple of games out and Mbeumo came to the team unfit because he didn't really have much of a pre-season. Same with Sesko. And so for one reason or another, one of them's been out most of the time. And now Sesko's out for another 3 weeks or so, knee problem. Who knows? They'll be careful about him coming back. And then by the time he's back, AFCON will be about to start, and we're going to lose Mbumo. And so that's a real shame. It's going to be February before we might have all of three of them fit and in the same side. And our lack of squad depth kind of shows there. It's kind of like the winter window. I think the biggest weakness is obviously central midfield, because Ugarte, unfortunately, I don't know what's the right word describing him. He's shit, I think, probably. I think we have enough evidence now that he's not quite good enough, or very one-dimensional. Mainu is not the profile that Amorim likes. That's very clear. And so we just don't have enough depth in central midfield. Obviously, we have a problem at wing-back if Ahmad is not fit and Dalot is not producing. And then we have a problem in the forward area. There's a lot of talk about Antoine Semenyo this week because he has this release clause. United, I think it's reliably reported that they were interested in him last summer. Couldn't get the deal done with Bournemouth. He has this release clause. It's only 10 million above what United actually bid for the player last summer, apparently. So it's reported, would they go for him as an extra attacker? You can understand. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if we have that problem where we only really have three attackers that we can trust, and Bruno is no longer an attacker and he's a central midfielder, and Amorim won't play him up further forward, then that would make a lot of sense, but it would be spending next summer's money.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm just not sure whether we will do that in the winter transfer window. I mean, I'd love to see it happen. Semenyo is a great player, and we do need an extra attacker if we're not trusting, I guess, Xerxes and yeah, I'd take any player, to be honest. I'd take any player in anyone. I'll have anyone in any position. I just think we do need more squad depth, and like you said, midfield as well is really important. I think I would go for a midfielder over a forward, but that's just me personally, because I think midfield has been one of the bigger issues, not even this season, but over the last couple seasons. And I do have a lot of faith in the forwards that we have at the minute. But then again, you need that squad depth. So, but I mean, Semenyo in the winter would be amazing. I'll take that 100%.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think United probably have the room to spend a couple $100 million next summer. I mean, depends on where they finish in the league, both in terms of prize money, £3.5 million per place, but also European football. So Europa League would probably bring an extra 40 million in net, and Champions League 100 or so. So that's a player, basically, a top quality player if you make Champions League. But without it, could probably spend near 200 anyway. And so a central midfielder, they're looking at all the names everyone's heard: Anderson, Baleba, Wharton, Stiller, so on. Baleba and Anderson are £100 million. Wharton is 60, 70. Stiller might be a bit cheaper. I don't think he would do well in the Premier League personally, but would they bring it forward and spend it on another forward now? I suspect not, as you're saying, but there's money there. So especially the finances are much better now. They've cut so much cost out of the club that we're almost at break even. Yeah.
And that's why it's so important that we get European football. It's not just like, okay, if we get it. No, like we really do need it just to have that extra money. It's just, okay, maybe if we don't have it, we'll do it without, but it is just having that extra money would just give us a lot more leeway in signings, and we need it, I think, personally. So, and we need European football. It's Manchester United, that's a no-brainer as well. So,
lads, it's United. Yeah, European football is the club of this status should be in the Champions League and deep into the Champions League every year, not hoping we get the bloody Europa League and fearing we might be in the conference.
I know.
So, yes, absolutely. It's about status as well as money and where we should be as a club. I mean, I guess we're having to take this very long road back to being there because of just how much the club has made bad decision after bad decision for a decade, and this is the consequence, right? All right, Everton on Monday night. Don't get weekend games at Old Trafford anymore. And so, no,
it's rubbish.
Just doesn't happen.
No.
It is rubbish. It is rubbish. Yeah, so Amorim did his press conference today. He confirmed that Sesko will be out for a few weeks, as we know, that Harry Maguire is not fit. either had a recurrency. I mean, he missed a game and then was back for the Spurs game, and then he injured himself in that one. And then he also said that Kobbie Mainoo may or may not. I don't think he's been training, so it seems not that he plays him anyway. But he didn't really say yes or no, but he didn't sound that positive on Kobbie.
No, bit of a shame. But I think this, like I said earlier, I mean, Monday football it's not ideal. Who wants Monday night football? But I think there is a lot of pressure riding on this game. You know, we do need a win. I think Everton will want a win as well. Everton's away from home record this season isn't very good. I think they've only won one away from home. Is that right?
Yeah, they've been pretty bad.
Yeah, and our home record is better. So I mean, that's, I guess, an advantage for us. I think Everton, you know, under David Moyes, they're going to be good at set pieces. So that's definitely something that we need to think about going into this game. I'd be sticking with De Ligt 100% against Jack Grealish. So that's something that we need to look out for. I think their attack is going to be good. They are capable of scoring goals, but they haven't been scoring loads, and they don't have a great possession stat either. So it looks like it should be in our favour, this match, but you just never know. You never know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're playing better than Everton. Everton are good enough under Moyes that a mid-table or lower thirds, but not in a relegation scrap, is probably where they'll be. They've been in a relegation scrap more often than not over the last 20 years, basically. But they've got new owners. They're in a better financial position. Obviously, they've opened their new stadium, which they've had pretty decent results at, actually. That's not always the case with brand new stadiums, is it? Away from home, I expect them to be very David Moyes. Tight, low block, narrow the pitch. Exactly the kind of game where United have struggled. So this is a good test. So without Sesko, what does he do in the forward areas? He's tended to go in recent games with Cunha up front. There's a lot of talk this week about Josh Zirkzee, but he hasn't played any football at all, basically. So I think he's got 90 minutes all season. And not in one game. He had 60. Well, he came on in one game and had an hour, didn't he? And then, because he came on early. But that's it, really. So I would be really surprised if... And he didn't play for Holland in the international break either. So he's had no football basically all season. I would suspect that Amorim goes with Cunha up front and then brings Mount in, maybe. I don't know. What do you think? Who will be the forwards?
Yeah, I was thinking Mount as well. I think Mount is just got that attacking style that can work in this particular game. We've spoken so much about, how the attack needs to be a bit better, and I think Mount does help with that. I think he's a really good player. I don't want to see him get into this team a bit more, because I think he deserves to be in this team 100%. I think he'll probably stick with Cunha and Bumo. Ahmad could be in there too, higher up front, maybe, I guess, similar to Spurs. But yeah, I would work Mount into this game. Hopefully a start, but definitely Cunha. Yeah.
Who knows exactly? Amorim does change things up, but I think it'll be Cunha up front in a kind of flexible role where he drops into half spaces too, and probably Mount and Bruno just and Ahmad at wing back, just to have that extra attacker in the team. Because if you put Ahmad in the front three, you're ending up with Dalot in the team. Dallow's biggest strength and his biggest fault is that he's available for every game and he never gets injured. So it means he plays a lot. But he doesn't offer anything going forward at all. And I don't think we need the extra defender against an Everton side that will play transitional football. Obviously, Grealish is having a redemption this season. He's already got a few goals and assists. I can't remember how many he got in 3 or 4 years at City. It was barely any, basically. But he's given freedom under Moyes. It's kind of counterintuitive, really. Moyes plays with this very tight, low block side. But he's given a lot of freedom to Grealish to do Grealish-type things. That will be interesting matchup. Probably Lenny Yoro versus Jack Grealish in those kind of channels. I'm less worried about Lenny Yoro in those areas. I think he's brilliant in big spaces. Obviously got that great recovery pace. It's where you chuck a lot of aerial stuff at him that he struggles a bit sometimes. but I wouldn't expect that. So I expect it's Yoro, De Ligt and Shaw at the back, Ahmad and Dorgu, Bruno and Casemiro, obviously, and then Mount Cunha and Buma. I kind of suspect that's the side, but we'll find out.
No, that sounds about right. And like you said, I mean, if they're Everton probably going to play a low block, which we might struggle a bit against, but it's just, there's no doubt that I just don't think we should be losing this match. Like, there's no way we should struggle against this Everton side. I mean, we might, but yeah, no, I think this should be an easy win for us. It should be. Whether it is, I don't know.
Yeah, cut out the stupid mistakes at the back. We should find enough chances up front to win this game. We'll see with Josh Zirkzee. I don't think he'll start. He's had no football, as I said. I would be tempted. I don't hate the guy. Let me just be clear. There's no agenda here. But if there is real interest from Italy, as has been reported, and I don't see where he fits in an Amorim system. He's not a 9. He's not a 10. He doesn't create enough to be in one of those 10s. He doesn't score enough to be the number 9. So where does he fit? I would take money for him because he just doesn't fit. If that means you could spend on another player.
Yeah.
Especially since we bought him so cheap that we can't really make a loss in PSR terms. I would be tempted to take the money, even with Mbuma and Ahmad going to AFCON. I just don't see where Josh fits. We'll see. That's for 6 weeks' time. At the weekend, I'd be surprised if he starts. But yeah, anyway, come on, United. We could probably end up in the top 4 this weekend, depending how results go.
Yeah.
We'll know more on Monday, I guess, but it's a big opportunity.
100% opportunity that we need to take. So,
who are we supporting the title races? We don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm as long as it's not Liverpool, which it doesn't look like it will be. Do we care if Arsenal win the title? I'd
prefer Arsenal to win over Liverpool, so I'd care a little bit, but I wouldn't love them to win, but I'd take Arsenal over Liverpool.
It's just their fans.
Oh, they're awful.
They're just annoying online fans.
They are the worst fans.
But yeah. truly terrible. And this just, there aren't that many. It's not like Arsenal have this global following in quite the same way United do, but they seem very online.
Yeah, no, they are.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about them. So big opportunity this weekend for United. I think I'm looking for a good performance as well as the result. And they shouldn't be too tired. We haven't had a lot of players go miles and miles and miles. We've had a lot of them back this week, in fact, a few days early. So we should be in a good position and prepped as well. Very good. Thank you, listeners. You can catch us on patreon.com. I'll do an extra show with someone this weekend. I can't remember. You can check out my Substack as well if you want to read 2,000-word pieces on something. Isabel, Talk About United on YouTube. You'll be back this weekend?
Possibly. I've not posted for a while. I've been so busy with uni stuff, but hopefully I need to get back into it. So hopefully there'll be a video soon.
Do a reaction piece to United's fabulous victory on Monday night.
Yeah.
All right, listeners, thank you very much for listening or watching wherever you are. We'll catch you next time. And Isabel, thanks a lot too.
Thank you.